Welcome back to the channel. Aaron here from Bitcoin Bros. And in today's video, we're going to be getting into some recent MicroStrategy news, some Bitcoin updates, and stay tuned to the end. I have a clip that I want to share with you. But jumping into it, you can see Ryan Cohen in this picture here with Michael Saylor. If you don't know who Ryan Cohen is, he is the CEO of GameStop. So he posted this on Twitter. Could we see GameStop? It looks like they're at Saylor's house as well. Could we see GameStop be the next company to put Bitcoin on the balance sheet? That would be huge to see GameStop do something like that. The meme company putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet. So this could be really huge for Bitcoin in the future. Something that we'll be paying attention to and everybody has to watch out for. And Michael Saylor just posted this on Twitter. Death of the blue lines, long live the green dot. So it's looking like we will get another buy from Strategy that will be announced tomorrow. And then Strategy's 2025 targets here. They have an annual target BTC yield of around 15%. Right now that's currently sitting at 2.9%. They have an annual target of obtaining $10 billion in Bitcoin this year. Right now, they've bought in 1.24 billion. They want to do 10 billion for the rest of the year. And then looking at this chart, we know with their 21 capital raising plan progress, they have $4.3 billion left in the ATM and $17.4 billion left in fixed income. So it looks like they want to do 10 billion for the rest of the year. That could exhaust the rest of the ATM, but we still may have some of the fixed income outstanding. And I believe that they would crush that $10 billion mark that they have for this year if Bitcoin performs very well. If Bitcoin goes to 150K, 200K this year, I think they'll get to that $10 billion very easily. But as Bitcoin goes up, that means the assets that they own, the Bitcoin they own is going to be worth more in dollar value. They're going to have a bigger asset to debt ratio, which then they'd be able to take on some more convertible debt, things like that. So they could run through all of this year if Bitcoin performs well, but we'll have to wait and see how Bitcoin does for the rest of the year. But $10 billion is still a good mark, and that's what they're targeting for this year. Then we saw BlackRock. They revealed a 5% ownership of Strategy in SEC filing. So BlackRock has been loving Bitcoin with their Bitcoin ETF, their best performing ETF that they've ever launched. And now they're owning some MSTR, which is good to see. BlackRock really buying into the idea of Bitcoin there. Larry Fink loves Bitcoin, and he's a true believer in the future of BTC. So that's really huge to see for MicroStrategy. And then some quick TA here. We have an ascending triangle for MicroStrategy, and it's looking like it's getting to that apex here very, very soon. So we could see a breakout to the upside. Ascending triangle, that is a bullish technical analysis pattern. So we may see a breakout for MicroStrategy looking at some technicals here. That's just something I wanted to share with you guys. But if we look at the current price of Bitcoin, we're currently sitting at around 96,000. MicroStrategy, our strategy closed on Friday at around 327. So MicroStrategy is still above that $300 mark. And who knows in the short term what happens with Bitcoin and MSTR, but you should be picking up MSTR if you can, dollar cost average in. A lot of you guys have been mad about the recent price action or disappointed on the recent price action for MSTR over like the past 2 months. But if you zoom out and you look at the past 3 months, 6 months, year, you're going to be seeing huge gains. So right now when the stock is down from its all-time high, it's a great time to get in. That's not financial advice. But if you do need a place to trade MSTR, you can do that on MooMoo. We have an affiliate link. Use that affiliate link and get up to 30 free stocks. Make sure to check that out if you haven't already. And then to get into some Bitcoin news, you can see here, Metaplanet, their market cap has 100x since adopting Bitcoin as a treasury asset less than 1 year ago. So Metaplanet is showing Japanese companies that, hey, this Bitcoin treasury strategy works. So other companies are going to look at Metaplanet, especially in Japan, and say, look what Metaplanet has done just by putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet. They've 100x their market cap. Maybe we need to do this. So we'll probably see a lot of companies follow the Metaplanet playbook in Japan, just like we're seeing a lot of companies follow the MicroStrategy playbook in the United States. And then we see here, Bitcoin hash rate sets a new record high of 810 EH. That's a lot of hashes per second, securing the world's largest permissionless monetary network. This basically just means there's more miners online, and in the past, the hash rate or the price has followed hash rate. Not all the time, especially not in bear markets, but it is an indicator that Bitcoin's price could be going up in the short term. And then an update on some companies that have bought Bitcoin. We have BitTier here. They have added 81 Bitcoin over the past week. So they're buying more BTC. They hold over 805 Bitcoin now. We have Digital BTBT. They now hold 768 Bitcoin, which is around $80 million of BTC. So more companies just putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet. These are obviously not the only two companies that are doing it outside of MicroStrategy, but just an update from the past day or so. And then we can see here FTX will repay 98% of creditors on February 18th. So they're going to be receiving 119% of their total funds lost in US dollar terms. So if they lost $1 million in Bitcoin, they're going to receive 119% of that. They're not going to actually receive what the Bitcoin would be worth today. And this is back in November 2022. That's when Bitcoin was around $20,000, I believe, somewhere around there. And this is equivalent of only 20% in Bitcoin terms. So this is a lesson in self-custody. If you guys have Bitcoin on exchanges, you want to put some of that in cold storage, if not all of it in cold storage, because you don't know what these exchanges are actually doing with your Bitcoin. They could be lending them out. The actual Bitcoin might not even be there. That's why it's just better to have your own asset, put it in cold storage. But it's also going to be interesting to see what happens with all of these funds that are credited back. Are these funds going to be put directly back into Bitcoin? That could cause the price of BTC to go up on February 18th. We don't really know what these creditors are going to do with this money, but I mean, we could see it come back into crypto, and that could cause a little bit of a shock to the market and have a nice green day. But we'll have to wait and see on February 18th. But that's all I had for today's video. Pretty quick one here today, but there is a clip here from BlackRock that I want to share with you guys. They're talking about Bitcoin. So let's go ahead and check out this clip here. Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. Appreciate you watching all the way to the end. Subscribe. We have new content coming out every single day. Let's go ahead and check out this clip here.
Thematic investing at BlackRock, I really spend a lot of my time thinking about the future and some of the disruptive changes that are impacting the world and society and the economy and our portfolios around us. Oftentimes, this is about disruptive technologies. Oftentimes, it's about societal changes. But what we found with blockchain and digital assets is that in some ways, this is one of the fastest growing technologies we've seen in the last few years. On the right-hand side of the chart, you can see our adoption curve. This is just looking at how quickly certain assets are adopted by a society. And you can see that blockchain and digital assets are being adopted faster than major revolutions before it, whether that's the internet or whether that's cell phones. And there's a couple of reasons for this. The first reason is just we're living in a more digital economy than ever before. If we're consuming things online, streaming videos, playing video games, buying digital content, it makes sense to have digitally native assets to conduct those transactions, particularly when there's... Secondly, and importantly, in a year like this year, where over half the world's population is voting for new leadership, not just the elections in the United States, in Mexico, in India, and the European Union, we're seeing more geopolitical risk than before, and in fact, declining trust in institutions, whether that's trust in government institutions for maintaining peace and order, whether that's trust in central banks in terms of keeping inflation under control. More distrust has exacerbated the need for a global monetary alternative. The third we're seeing is demographic changes, the rise of the millennial and Gen Z generation. Millennials, at least in the United States, are set to inherit trillions of dollars, are entering peak earnings years in their work, and are increasingly playing an important role in the economy. And millennials are very different from previous generations because we, were the first generation to be digitally native, growing up with the internet, growing up with computers. We understand digital better than previous generations, and that means we're more likely to adopt digital currencies. And then finally, what I think has been really important to BlackRock in our journey in the digital asset space has been the maturing of the infrastructure in digital assets. We've seen billions of dollars move in venture capital and private equity into digital assets to fund incredible innovation in blockchain. We've seen the regulatory environment evolve to get more constructive around digital assets and how people can buy them. We've seen extremely talented people leave traditional finance to go into DeFi to help lead some of these innovations. And all of this infrastructure has really matured over the last 5 years. So between all of these tailwinds, it's really creating the opportunity for digital assets to gain broader adoption across more investors around the world. With that being said, we're in the early days. 2.9 trillion, it changes every day. Maybe it's slightly higher or slightly lower since we made this slide. But we could have focused thus far our efforts on 2 digital assets, the 2 largest. We feel that between these 2 assets, which represent about 75% of the market cap of the digital asset space, and have some of the most liquidity in the digital asset space, that we can really start to make headway in terms of bringing out accessible vehicles to more investors.